like me. Um, well, I'm in a predicament now because they suspended one of my fake pay or my stealth PayPal. So I'm wondering what I should do because they're just at the point where they want me to prove who I am, and I kind of can't do that. So I'm trying to figure out, like, do they have to send me the money if I say, hey, this is a stealth PayPal? Like, does the 180-day rule apply?
Not really sure exactly. I guess I've never been in that predicament. I've never had a PayPal Stealth account. Obviously, I've given advice on them, how to make them, what to do with
Yeah.
them, but never really been in the situation myself as to, what happens when your stealth or fake PayPal account, is up for getting banned. How much money is in the PayPal account?
I think it's like $800, where it's like an amount that I can lose, but I don't want to.
Right.
Uh, it's enough to care. It's not 100 or $200. It's about 800 in there right now, give or take.
Right.
Uh, Now here's the problem though. It's weird because it's not like I'm doing anything to continually get banned. I got banned on an account in my dad's name in like 2016, and ever since then, what they keep coming at me with is, "You're banned. You made another account. Fuck you." And so then and it's just rinse and repeat. So I'm not actually doing anything wrong per se. It's just that apparently I'm life banned, which I guess is a thing.
Do you have an email or anything from them? Did they give you a reason why, or did they
Well,
explain anything to you?
it's not that I'm banned right now. Right now, it's a limitation, and I have to send in a copy of a photo ID, which I tried to call them and say, I don't drive, I don't have a license, because it's in a fake name. So the only thing I can do is find someone to make a fake ID, but then that crosses the line of like, how unethical am I willing to get to have a PayPal,
Right.
And so I'm wondering, I know that if you, let's say, they find out that you are banned and it's in your name, they'll lock the account for 180 days, or if you get banned, say they lock the account for 180 days and then they let you withdraw it to a bank account. But does that apply if it's not in my name?
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's a tough situation. In my opinion, what could happen, which isn't a good thing, is because the PayPal account isn't in your name, it's in a name that you can't prove the identity of. Technically, by default, if they can't prove that the account is owned by a real person, they could deem the money obtained by like malicious activity. Obviously, they haven't done their research. Obviously, you
Yeah,
haven't done anything malicious to obtain the money, but because of the fact that the identity can't be confirmed, I would assume that PayPal would either just let the money sit in the account and do nothing with it, or PayPal might even confiscate the money or return the money from the people who sent money to your account. Even if they are customers that you legitimately shipped items to and they got their items, no complaints, no problems, they might just refund everybody from the account from the last few months.
yeah. And it's not that the easiest way out that I have is there is like most of the money was held anyway because it was a new account and it hasn't been past the 90 days yet. So out of the money, all but one item is still sitting here. I hadn't had a chance to ship it. The one item that I did ship was a $500 HP Omen gaming laptop, and it hasn't been delivered. So I contacted FedEx, and they're going to try to intercept it and send it back to me. So, is that like, I realize it's not really nice to the buyer, but if I just intercept it and then refund everyone, is that what I should do? Because that still doesn't solve it gets my stuff back and I don't lose anything, but long term, like what should I do in this case?
It's kind of a tough situation. Honestly, I would consult with a lawyer and make sure that, I just making a fake ID, in most states is just illegal in general. And at the same time, it's your money. So
Yeah,
kind of it's probably a question for a lawyer. Morally, you're making the ID to obtain currency that's yours, but making the ID is just illegitimate and then lying to PayPal. But at the same time, if you didn't scam to get the money, which I'm
yeah,
sure you didn't, you legitimately sold stuff, they just want to ban the PayPal account, the currency should be yours.
Yeah.
What I would personally do is I would call PayPal from a different phone number so they can't trace it back to your account. And I would just make up a name that's unrelated to your name or the name that's on your stealth account. And I would simply ask them, hey, I have an account and it is not in my name. It is a fake name that I used because I wanted to be anonymous.
Yeah.
It is my currency. The currency was obtained in a legitimate way. I have no pending PayPal cases. My PayPal is currently under review. If I reveal to you whom I am, will I still be able to get my money, even though I cannot verify that I am the account owner? However, I do have access to the account and the email, and I am the person who owns the account and the currency in the account.
Okay.
It's kind of complicated, but that's how
Yeah.
I would go about it. And then you might have your answer as to if you need to make a fake ID or go to that extent of making a fake ID. And then at that point, I would consult a lawyer and see what they have
Well,
to say about that.
what if, I mean, okay, so operating under a fake ID, you agree is morally wrong. But what if and this is, I guess, where it comes into more of a physically, are they going to verify the ID somehow? Say I get a fake ID made just to unlock the account. I ship out whatever's being shipped, get the money, close the account, call it a day. Is that wrong?
I don't think that they're going to physically verify the ID. Just because I guess, like I said, me personally, I've never had any problems with PayPal trying to verify my identity or anything like that because I've never had to make a stealth account. But I have had other online entities where I had an account and somehow my computer was keylogged. This is probably 7 to 8 years ago. This is a long time ago before I even started flipping phones. But it was for other stuff online. And basically, what happened is somebody somehow got a hold of my ID. They took over my account and everything, did all the verification, but they never really verified that it was me personally. It's just the person had a copy of my ID.
Yeah.
Now, the only one thing that they could do is they could ask you to send a picture of yourself holding the ID. But if it's a fake ID with your face on it, that would pass their verification check. Other than that, there isn't really a whole lot that they can do. I mean, so it's really on you. I mean, my advice is try and proceed with caution, try and proceed as careful as possible, and perhaps try and get your answer basically anonymously from them and just see what they say.
Well, I think I can already take a good guess and say that they're going to say, well, we can't do anything until we pull up the account. And they're going to try to make it sound like in each case is individual kind of thing. But here's what I do know that I think is interesting, because I think you brought up how PayPal isn't as smart as we think. They caught on to my new account, or my name, my new business name, and doing everything completely legitimately. They traced the serial number on my phone and linked it to another phone the phone that I had previously that was on both accounts, and traced an IP address, and I must have logged in from, my parents' house is only half a mile down the road, and it was a similar ISP. They really dug deep into it. They dug into what I was selling exactly and the listing descriptions I was using, and determined that it was me using both accounts. Like, they really read off to me, and I didn't even think they would do that deep of an analysis. That's why I'm wondering if they would catch a fake ID. But
I'm not really sure, I guess. I mean, I've never been in the situation, so I'm really not sure. But I do know that eBay and PayPal, for anybody out there that wants to make a stealth account or has been banned for some reason, I do know that it's a lot easier to not get banned than to get banned, because eBay and PayPal do put things together. If they see one IP address that's either close to another IP address or one that's similar in location, selling the exact same kind of stuff and dealing with the exact same clientele, what eBay does is they actually link your accounts. And this is actually something that personally happened to me, and it was really horrible. So a long time ago, when I was newer to eBay, I didn't know this, and I actually logged in at my parents' house. I logged in there after I had left and everything, and I didn't know this, but my younger brother, had started an eBay account. He was just selling miscellaneous things, And my eBay account had high limits on it and everything. And then all of a sudden, because my feedback went down, this is back in the day where when people left bad feedback, it could affect your seller rating and all that and your limits. Well, he also got a negative feedback, and his limits were only like $2,500 a month. And I needed way more than $2,500 a month to list all of my stuff. And eBay linked our eBay accounts. It was really, really irritating. And what I actually ended up doing, although I wasn't banned, they just linked the account. I tried submitting and reasoning with them as, basically to let them know, hey, we are not the same person. This is my brother's account. I logged in on my parents' account. They didn't really seem to have any care of it, just because of the fact that it seemed like the people that I dealt with on customer service weren't fluent speaking in English. They all had accents. They didn't really understand what was going on. So what I ended up doing is I just made sure my account was in good standing. My brother's account was in good standing. And so long as his account's in good standing, so is mine. However, what I ended up doing with that original eBay account, as I call it my trial account, because I didn't really know what I was doing, I got that account up to around 50 feedback. And as you guys all know, not everybody leaves feedback. So 50 feedback's probably like 200 or 300 in sales, just because of the fact not everyone leaves feedback. So what I did with that original eBay account, it was in good standing. I just left it. I logged off, never logged back onto it, and I made a new eBay account. And my new eBay account has, I don't know, somewhere close around like 1,300 feedback. And then I have an alt account that I use that has somewhere around 850 feedback. Now, both of these accounts, though, are in my name. However, the difference between my situation and yours, Josh, is that I was never banned or suspended. But when I did get that hold or that kind of red flag in my account, I kind of fixed it and made sure the account was in good standing, and I just left it. And when I made the new account, I started doing a lot more in volume in sales, as the one account was kind of a trial account, and they never linked that new account with the old account. They never linked it with my brother's account, never did anything like that. So it's kind of interesting, but they do stuff like that, guys, and they do link stuff together.
You know what's ridiculous about that? Technically, you're breaking eBay policy for that, as stupid as that is. Technically,
Correct.
yeah, just by having multiple accounts, which is stupid. But have you tried managed payments yet? Like, do you have access to that yet for eBay?
I have not tried the managed payment system yet. Honestly, I really haven't been on eBay a whole lot, just because of the fact that I do export most of my stuff to direct buyers.
Yeah.
And then as far as the eBay policy, now the one thing that I did get lucky with is what I ended up doing is I did call in and got permission to make an extra eBay account. And what I had said to them is that I no longer had access to the email or that eBay account or the phone number. And so I'm not sure if the account ever got deleted, but I just know when I left it, whether they suspended it or whatever they did after with it, it was in good standing. So when I made a new account with my first and last name, there was no reason for them to link the account, suspend it, or do anything bad to it, because of the fact that the old account was pretty much done, whether they wiped it off of eBay or they just, locked it up. It was not in bad standing, so there was really no reason for them to look at my account.
Okay.
So, welcome, Will. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about with everybody today, and I kind of wanted to warn everybody about, is USPS. USPS. So, for those of you guys that don't know, a few months ago, I shipped an $18,000 package to some direct buyers. They are within the United States. They are not overseas. They pay some of the highest prices in the States, and they have done a lot of business with me. I don't just ship to one person. I do ship to a lot of different people, because of the fact that I like to give everybody some business, and being a face online on the internet, I don't want to just cater to one direct buyer. I want to get to know everybody, see how they operate, see how the business works. I've been doing that for years. I never ever sell all my stuff just to one direct buyer. Some people don't like that. Some people don't mind. Some people totally understand. But the point of the story is I've done business with this person before, and I've been shipping with USPS for probably, I don't know, 5 to 7 years exclusively. I've never really shipped with anybody else beside USPS. They've never let me down. They've never lost anything. And the crazy thing is I shipped this $18,000 package out, and I've got all this documentation behind it that I actually shipped it. And USPS, of all packages that I've shipped within the last 7 years, loses this $18,000 package, which is on the higher end of some of the packages I send. Normally my packages are between 5 to 10,000. I try and send them out every 3 days, but I just ended up getting a ton of phones, and I couldn't get rid of them to a few different people. They all had to go to the same person. So it was $18,000 that they lost. Now, the crazy thing is, I have been basically all FBI, CIA on this whole thing. I've probably been more on the up and up than USPS themselves. And I've made friends with pretty much every USPS person that I've talked to on the phone. Now, what I did confirm is the post office where I sent the package to her, where it was last scanned in, has admitted guilt that USPS did indeed lose my package or allowed it to be stolen right out of their sorting facility or out of one of their trucks, because it is nowhere to be found anywhere whatsoever, which is absolutely crazy when you think about it. And this package is $18,000. It had 25 iPhones in it. So this package was probably, I don't know, 2.5 feet by, I don't know, 2.5 feet tall. So it wasn't a small package by any means. Not something that would go missing that easy. And I paid for this package with registered mail, insured it for $18,000. It was $121. Okay, $121 to ship this package. So by no means was it any kind of, hey, I'm just going to ship all of this expensive stuff and hope that it gets lost and there's really nothing in the box or anything like that. I sent this the most secure way possible. I sent it with registered mail and insurance, and then told them to expedite it or ship it as fast as possible along with that registration. And what registered mail means is, when Postman A gets it, he's got to sign off. And when Postman B gets it, he's got to sign off. So every time that package comes into contact with somebody, with one of the U.S. Federal Postal Office workers or deliverers or carriers, clerks, whatever you want to call them, it's supposed to be signed off on. So that package should be accounted for every time. And I'm not sure this to confirm, but I don't think there is a more secure way to send mail. In fact, when the president sends mail or when government sends mail, I'm sure it's the same thing. It's either signature or registered mail. What's crazy is we submitted a claim. It got denied initially because the USPS login online only lets you submit 5 photographs and around 250 characters for an explanation, which is really only about a good paragraph and 5 pictures, which doesn't really justify $18,000 worth of loss. So I get the first denial, and then I get a letter in the mail basically saying, hey, if you want to appeal this, send us back a copy of this letter and your appeal. So they get like a 20-page packet sent back by me documenting all the proof of value, my bank statements, the buyer, how much I paid, how much I lost because of the fact that they lost my package. Then it comes back again. They've admitted guilt now. The post office that lost it, I've been in contact with the supervisor. We're almost friends at this point because I've called there 4 different times. And he's told me that the package is lost. They admitted loss. They've let the claims department know that it's lost. And all the proof is there. The proof is there. And I get another denial in the mail basically stating that I was missing a date on one of the slips or something. And I'm not even the one that filled the paperwork out. When I go to the post office, I have this guy there, and he basically fills everything out because he's been there for a long time. So it's absolutely crazy. But basically at this point, guys, what I'm trying to get at here, and I don't know if I'm going to win this claim or not. If not, hey, it's an $18,000 loss. I guess I'll just write it off on my taxes and whatever. It is what it is. But it's enough money where I'm not just going to let it go right away. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. But the whole point is the USPS at this point is not admitting or not trying to get out of the fact that they lost it, let it be stolen, or just basically, they just basically mishandled my package. Once it's in their possession, it's their fault. So technically how insurance should work is once they lose it and it's in their possession, they're at fault. They're not even trying to admit that they're not in fault. They're trying to disqualify the claim by submitting technicalities or trying to come up. They're basically trying to pull at loose strings, if anybody's heard that saying before. So I think it's absolutely crazy that over the past 7 years, I've insured every one of my packages that's been, over a few $1,000s, an amount that I don't want to lose to scale my business to where it's at. And then they come up with this. And I just think it's absolutely crazy to think that they're trying to pull at strings. So for everybody out there that's been wondering about USPS and if you should use USPS, I really don't know what to say at this point because I think the claim is going nowhere. I think it's going to get denied. You only get 2 appeals with them. So it's probably going to get denied again, or they'll come up with another excuse. And then at that point, the difficult thing is USPS, guys, is a federal government entity. And in order to get money from a federal government entity, you cannot sue them in small claims court, not to mention $18,000 is well over the small claims court amount limit, but I would actually have to sue them in federal court. Now, federal court is very expensive. It's not free like small claims court. It's not like $100 to file on small claims court. You know, it's very expensive. Lawyers can be very expensive. And typically in federal court, the person who loses ends up having to pay for the other person's attorney fees and all that kind of stuff. Now, I don't think I would lose, but somehow, some way, the 1% chance I do, I'm out $18,000, and who knows how expensive USPS's lawyers' fees are going to be. So I'm not really sure what to do at this point. I would really like to take them to federal court because I think it would make phone flipping history, wholesaler history, anybody who's ever had a package lost. And if I win, I think it would be inspirational for anybody else out there in this industry and other industries that have had packages that were insured that USPS wouldn't pay out on just because they kept denying it for technicalities. Now, I'm not sure if it would go this simple, but if I go to court and I present the judge all the facts, all the information, and that I did purchase the insurance, that I legally paid for it, the judge might just throw the book at them. Obviously, he's going to listen to their side, but when they say, well, we denied it because he didn't have this stamp, the judge is going to say, okay, did he pay for the insurance? Yes. Okay, did the insurance cover X amount? Yes. Okay, pay the claim. Maybe the judge isn't going to want to waste his time with that. So I might just go. I might go and see what happens. I might take the risk. One thing I've learned about this business is that if you don't take risks, you don't get any reward. Everything in this business is risky. Every time we buy a phone, we take the risk of being able to sell it in time enough to make profit before prices go down, especially on new phones. So I just kind of wanted to give everybody an update on this, that be careful of USPS. It's very interesting. I don't know why they're being like this after I've given them years and years and years and years of business. And there's other people out there on the internet that have had the same problem, but none of them, from what I could find on Google, have ever had an $18,000 package go missing. Another thing I did is I reached out to all the national news stations. I reached out to the Ellen DeGeneres show and a couple other sites. So if my story's out there and you see it, well, you know what's going on, guys. But this is going to be heard either way, whether I get paid or not, because of the fact that it's a lot of money, and I just feel bad for all the other people out there that have probably lost money. Now, if they paid me a partial claim, I might accept it and move on. But they provided absolutely no value. I mean, not even a check for $100 to reimburse me for the registered mail and insurance I paid for. You know, I didn't gain any information. I didn't gain anything. I didn't learn anything other than the fact that you need to be extremely crucially detailed when sending them your appeal stuff, because otherwise they just deny it for no reason. So keep that in mind, guys, when you're shipping with USPS, that they may do this to you if your package goes missing. One thing that I would like to bring up is I did switch my expensive packages. I've been shipping with UPS. Had a wonderful experience with them. They've been awesome. And when I ship my expensive stuff, I actually got to bring it to them in their facility, and they actually packaged everything up for me. They documented it, they insured it, and they said if it goes missing, you will be paid within probably 2 weeks. Of course, that one went to the same buyer, the same address, and guess what? It never went missing. See, the problem is USPS is a federal government entity, and most federal programs end up failing due to lack of funds or money. In fact, there's been a couple news articles this year, guys, posted that USPS is actually losing money constantly. So ask yourself, would a losing company or a failing company want to pay out a claim? Absolutely not. So even a winning company doesn't like paying out claims, but they will do so if they have the means to do so. Hearing all these articles and doing my research on USPS, I would say that it's a failed program, and it's probably going to be out of the market soon. I believe FedEx and UPS will probably take over the market in the near future if the government keeps doing as they are doing and they keep losing money with the program. Eventually, it'll be shut down. It'll just be cut out like other federal programs that get cut out that aren't budget efficient or aren't making money. So just wanted to bring that up to all of you guys tonight on the group chat, and anybody who's going to be watching this replay. It's just something important to think about if you are out there shipping big boy packages. If you're shipping 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 grand, be careful of all that. So does anybody got any questions?
Well, actually, Luke, there's two things I wanted to mention to you that maybe you didn't think about. One is, and this is just from experience with other types of insurance, have you read all of the terms and conditions of the USPS insurance? And the reason I say that is, I'll give you a good example. So those cell helmet insurances and whatnot, they sell, you can buy at a phone repair shop for $20 and it covers your screen if it gets broken. they build into their insurance costs the fact that X amount of people will not register properly and will get their claim denied based on that. So there may be a bunch of red tape. And also, my next question for you, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but is the USPS insurance actually underwritten by the federal government?
Hey, Josh, I'm not sure what happened to your video. It cut out. The
Yeah, I'm
last
not
thing.
sure what happened there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, so what was the last thing you heard me say?
The last thing I heard you say was you asked if I knew if the insurance was underwritten by the federal government.
Yep, which is where I stopped. So you heard everything. But what do you think about that?
Okay, so number one, yes, I have read the rules. Actually, the rules for their insurance really aren't that long. And my case isn't very complicated because I'm not claiming insurance for damaged items. They lost the package, and they've admitted that they lost the package. So technically, if I insured a box of rocks for $50, let's just say there were some cool rocks that I was shipping to a friend in Florida. I insured it for $50. Now, if the rocks are damaged, they could get out of the claim by saying, hey, you didn't package it right, or hey, you didn't do this right. But when you lose the package, it doesn't matter if the phones were shipped with one layer of bubble wrap. They lost the whole package. So that's the problem, and that's where the fault goes back on to the insurance company and USPS. Now, as far as the insurance being underwritten by USPS with the government, I believe that it is. I guess I haven't personally looked that up. However, all of the claims departments that I've been emailing and mailing my stuff to, all are government entities or like USPS. I'm not emailing my insurance stuff to like a third-party insurance carrier. So
Yeah.
all of the information has been going to the USPS outlets directly themselves.
Well, the reason I brought that up, because I do think it's weird now that I think about it, because the government isn't really known to get into the insurance business. It seems like the kind of business that they wouldn't really want to get into. So that's why I thought maybe they could provide it like underwritten by a third party. Like that's how FedEx's insurance is. Like it's through FedEx, but it's underwritten by another insurance company. And
Right.
they provide their own insurance. That's why I was wondering, what exactly is entailed there.
Right. No, that makes sense. Well, when you think about it, though, if the government is in the insurance business, and I think all of us have a general education on just how the government can be corrupt in its own programs and its own ways, because the government's run by people. That's the bottom line. And people are corrupt. People do make mistakes. People do bad things. Nobody's perfect. Some people are just better at hiding than others. Now, the thing is, since the government's a federal entity, USPS is a part of the government. You can't really sue USPS unless it's over $3,000 because it wouldn't waste, it would just be a waste of your time and a waste of your expense. So think of it like this. The government insures itself, and that's all fine. But if every time somebody submits a claim, they just deny it, and most people's claims are probably anywhere from $25 to $3,000 at the max. If every time that claim happens and you can't sue them in civil court, and taking them to federal court would be a waste of your time and money because your claim is only $3,000 and you might lose because you didn't keep the best documentation, like most of their customers are probably just average customers. Imagine how much money they're making off that insurance when they don't pay out hardly any claims. And on top of that, there's people out there insuring their packages $100 on top of what they're paying for the shipping. So that's kind of something that has to be questioned too. And that's something where if I do go to federal court, I will bring that up. Every phone call that I've had with USPS and all the representatives, see, the claims department doesn't have a direct line, unfortunately. Of course they don't. But there is a customer service department that deals with the claims and the information and stuff, and they can tell you stuff. And I've got over 6 phone calls recorded completely, some of them 10 minutes long, some of them 30 minutes long. And every USPS employee that I've spoke to has agreed with me and doesn't understand why USPS is trying to pull strings and basically try and pull, complications and technicalities. They're just basically pulling that string so they don't have to pay the claim. So if it does end up going to court and, everyone in USPS says, hey, something is going on here, we don't understand. And then the judge looks at all my facts, all my information, and how well documented everything is, they probably are going to lose. I really hope that it doesn't go to that point, but if it does, it's going to be interesting for them. And, it might I don't know. It might cause a crash. Maybe they'll start doing stuff differently. Maybe they'll change stuff, or maybe USPS will just shut down. But there's been a lot of talk about USPS just shutting down. So, I mean, the government, you have to look at it like this. The government will make money off of whatever it can, so long as it is legal or legal defined by the law. So
Yeah.
since you can't sue the government in civil court, it becomes legal because nobody ever has any allegations against them because they don't have a foot to stand on. The government is okay with selling alcohol and marijuana, and the only reason they weren't okay with marijuana is because the government didn't know how to tax it. So remember, the government doesn't care about our health. They don't care about our businesses. They only want to make money because the government is failing. We're in national debt. And so if the government can make money, it doesn't matter what business it is. It could be in the ice farming business, which is completely made up, by the way, everybody. But if they could make money off of an ice farming business by grabbing ice from somewhere cold and selling it somewhere warm and taxing it, the government would do it and make it illegal for everybody else to do that. Because there isn't any other postal outlet that is federally owned, at least not that I know of. All the other ones are privately owned, and if FedEx were to lose a package or UPS, you could sue them in smallest claims court pretty easy, and they would have to fly a representative out to come out there. But with the government being a federal entity, they, in a sense, investigate themselves and protect themselves from even being liable for it, basically giving them a flawless business plan of always making money no matter what happens with the mail.
Have you been watching the time limit on your claim? Because I will say the one of the experiences that comes to mind with a lost
My denial came in on Thursday. My package and appeal is already delivered as of today at 10 a.m.
When did the initial shipment happen? Because one of the things they tried to do with me was, now this is only over a $200 iPhone, but basically they denied the first claim for lack of evidence, and then by the time I actually got around to making the second claim, it was like day 62 because they kept telling me, no, wait, let's try to find it, let's try to return it to you, because they were saying it was undeliverable, and then they lost it sending it back to me. So that took up 2 weeks, and the first claim got denied.
Yeah,
no, when the second claim came, they told me, oh, it's been 63 days. You filed the second claim on the 63rd day. You only have 60 days, so your claim's denied.
Yeah, none of the reasons for denial were because of lack of timely, not because it was not produced in a timely manner. Every time they've sent me a denial letter, I have a response within 1 day, and then when I go to send the mail, I pay $25 and I overnight it. So
yeah.
And then I also call them to make sure that they got it. So I'm following up on everything.
Yeah.
Like almost like a private investigator would, and I'm on top of everything. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, as of this point, they just keep denying it for absolutely no reason, really. So it should be interesting for everybody out there to hear this video tonight, because I know a lot of people did see that package that got lost, and it's just interesting, and hopefully everybody hears this whole group chat tonight, because I think it'll shed a lot of light on just what's going on out there. So
yeah.
But yeah, any questions as far as phone flipping? Because we're coming up on 38 minutes. I know we talked a lot about PayPal, and I hope that we can get that fixed for you somehow, because you know what? I could lose $800 and probably be fine tomorrow, but I wouldn't want to lose $800 if I didn't have to. So I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah. Again, it comes down to a point where, I can lose it, but I don't want to. And, no one should want to lose money anyway. But
Right. Definitely. Will, did you have something to say?
Yeah, so I'm fairly new at this. I've only got like $1,500 or $1,600 in the game.
Sure.
So I'm kind of wondering, like, at this point, what would be a good a good price to start insuring the packages? Because if it's like a $20 package, I don't feel like there's any point insuring it, but I don't know what would be a good price for that.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. So my professional advice would be insure your packages for when the loss would affect you. So example, me, $18,000. If I lose that, that's going to take me a long time to recoup that. Even if I'm making thousands of dollars profit each month, that's still 3-4 months worth of stuff, depending on what kind of volume I'm doing. So if you've got $1,600 in the game, I would say if you've got a package that's like $200, Something that's basically, I don't know, like an eighth of what you have into it. So you said you had 1,600. So basically, if you took $200, multiplied it by 8, so that's like 1/8 of what you've got into the game. I would say that you would want to insure your packages because, one, most carriers, if you send it like priority mail or whatever, they'll come with $50 to $100 worth of insurance. So to put an extra 100 on it, it's probably only a few bucks, and you should be making plenty more than a few bucks profit. So I would say, Will, anything that's $200 or $250, I would insure it, just to be safe. Now, the other thing, not to completely talk bad about the claims process and everything, although it has been a nightmare. Maybe if my claim was $200, it would have been paid long ago. They probably aren't very happy that their workers lost an $18,000 package. So it's not to say that all claims go unpaid, but that's the situation with mine, and it's probably because it's high value. So.
Right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, you bet, Will. But anyways, guys, we're going to wrap up tonight's group chat. I appreciate people coming out, and hope to see you guys next Monday at 7 p.m. Central Time. If you guys got any questions, drop comments on the YouTube video that you'll see tonight on the replay, or drop them in the group, and we'll get them answered next week. So have an awesome rest of your week, and get some of those phones.
All right. See you, Luke.
See you later, everyone.